What's you seen, people? This is Matthew, and this is another episode of What's You Seen. And as much as I would love to talk about the 2017 It, I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet because the powers that be decided, hey, you know what, America enjoying this thing, they're having fun, it's number one in the box office right now. But see, we down here in Trinidad, boy, we had to wait for this thing. But in between time, I will be talking about the 1990 version of It. This was a two-part, 4-hour miniseries, which was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace and was aired on ABC in 1990. Of course, I'm talking about 1990's Stephen King's It. Now, I remember when this movie came out way back in the days when I was young. And I just remember that one shot of Pennywise the clown in that manhole, basically taunting Georgie, that's a little kid who disappears at the beginning of the film, and I was scared shitless. Like, just the idea of this white-faced clown with sharp teeth inside of a manhole just talking to this kid just scared the daylights out of me. And I never actually watched the entire film out of fear. But then when I got old, I was like, you know what? I've seen horror films before. I've seen some great horror films. I've seen horror films that just creep me down to the core. So let me see how it holds up. Is it as scary as I thought it was when I was younger? And I would say for the most part, it's not. It's very creepy, don't get me wrong. But is it scary? No, not in my opinion. But this is in no way saying that, this version of It is a terrible film. No, not by a long shot. Now, this film is split between two time periods. First, we have 1960, where we are introduced to our 7 protagonists who are called in the film the Losers Club. So they are these 7 kids who pretty much have rough childhoods, whether it's being the victims of bullying or whether it's an abusive parent and whatnot. They all pretty much become friends because of these circumstances, and also because all of them in some way, shape or form are being taunted by this mysterious entity which they call It. And this particular entity is manifested as this clown, which is called Pennywise, which is played by Tim Curry. And then the second period now, which is in 1990, is where these characters, of course, get older, they're living their lives, but they are still feeling those side effects of what happened during that period in 1960. And when a bunch of weird and frightening events take place amongst all these 7 characters, they must now band together once again to get rid of this entity once and for all. Now, one thing that I really loved about this film were its themes of childhood trauma and fear. While we're growing up as kids, we are all subject to, numerous fears. They're just those fears that just stick with us for the rest of our lives. And I like how this movie really addressed that. Another thing that I really appreciated about the movie was the camaraderie that the 7 characters shared. I really love the fact that, even when they were older, they still had that bond, they still had that friendship. I thought that the acting was decent across the board, but the one who owns it, or the one who steals it, obviously is Tim Curry. He just puts 110% into portraying this really dark, menacing character of Pennywise. But because he is manifested as a clown, I don't know, I just can't help but laugh every time this guy is on screen. He is so funny, but at the same time, this guy is just screwing around with people. He just wants to get deep inside your psyche and just mess you up. But because he is acting like a clown and he's doing all the mannerisms and stuff like that, you just can't help but laugh though. It's like Freddy Krueger in a sense, but in a slightly over the top kind of clownish vibe, which I thought that Tim Curry nailed perfectly. Now, I don't know how the portrayal of Pennywise is going to be in the 2017 version, because like I said, I haven't seen it, but I'm hoping that we get some of the comical vibe that Tim Curry brought into it. Now, as for scares, yes, there are some decent scares in the movie, but I wouldn't go out of my way to say that, this is like the scariest movie you'll ever see in your life. They are way worse than this, and I imagine that the 2017 version, just off of the trailers that I've seen alone, are way worse. Here, because it's a TV movie and it fits within that whole TV PG vibe, and then of course it being from 1990, yeah, the scares are there, you look at them, you kind of laugh, you jump at some points in time, but I didn't feel like, okay, I'm genuinely being scared, my heart is racing, I can't watch, it's not like that. But in no way did it take me out of the film because I really was enjoying the way how the story was told. I like the direction. I really love the acting in it. But in no way would I say that this is like an absolute scare fest. Like this is like the scariest show out there. Unless you're the type of person who just scared of clowns or you just scared of balloons because like I don't know if there's like an actual phobia for balloons, but the way how they use balloons in this film are pretty interesting. I'll say that much. Now, I won't say that this is a perfect film. Because this is a TV movie, you do get some hammy acting, and I'm not talking about Tim Curry. I mean, Tim Curry is perfect. Let's leave Tim Curry out of this. But I'm just talking about the dramatic moments. Some of them kinda, I won't say they fall flat, but they kinda come off a bit cheesy.
I want to tell you something. You remember what my father was like? I fell in love with a man who turned out to be everything I always hated in my father. Why would I do that? How could I be so blind?
If you see it now, you're not blind anymore, Bev.
And also there are some weird kind of off-kilter visual and editing cues that they use in this film to build horror. But don't let the TV PG vibe of this movie here fool you. This is an incredibly dark story. But because it has a lot of depth and a lot of emotion, especially given from its cast, you know, you can't help but watch. You can't help but root for these characters. You can't help but, you know, hope that they make it out of this movie alive, basically. It is one of the more better film adaptations of a Stephen King novel, in my honest opinion. And I would say that, yeah, if you haven't seen it in a long while, or if you never saw it at all because you were scared, give this one a look. Unless you are scared of clowns or you are scared of balloons, then yeah, that's the only reasons why I wouldn't tell you to check this out. But if you haven't, yeah, give this one a look. So I would give this a very light 4 to 5 stars. I'm actually hoping that the 2017 version is going to be way better than this one here. But in no way should you just ignore this 1990 version. By all means, if you get a chance, give this one a look. And I'd actually recommend either seeing this film before or after you see the new one. So you could do a little compare and contrast. See what they did well in the old version compared to what they did in the new one, and vice versa. And if you actually read the book, you know, even better for you, where you can actually look back and be like, yeah, this was exactly how it was in the book and all that kind of stuff. And if you have read the book and if you have seen the 1990 version, feel free to let me know what you thought about it. Do you think it holds up to this day? Or do you think it's just a kind of piss poor version of the more superior version that hopefully I'll get the chance to see in theaters? Comment below and let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, this is Matthew, and like a wise man once told me,
they float, Georgie. They float.